Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. Might change that at some point. I was thinking recently, just to all media reviews, or I don't know, shorten it somehow. Today is Thursday, September 1st. Finally, it's September 2022. Been off this week, but I haven't had the opportunity to do any of this stuff, and then people coming over and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to do a Fates Warning video, another Fates Warning video. 4 of these left. I'm correct. And then a ranking video. Tomorrow I might be able to do more. I don't know. We'll see. But today's Fates Warning video, and then one other video today, but today's Fates Warning video is 2013's album Darkness in a Different Light, which I always kind of think in my head, I like to call it Darkness in a Different. I like the word different should be like drawn out or pulled out. But anyway, so this came out in 2013, after, what it was in effect, it would be 9 years technically, from studio recording for Fates Warning. Of course, I did Arch Matheos previously last week, the debut album Sympathetic Resonance. Jim Matheos was doing OSI at that point after FWX, and then Arch Matheos. OSI and Arch working with John Arch. Ray Alder had been singing with Redemption. I don't know how many albums they had, 3 or 4. And Mark Zonder had left the band, and then they had Bobby Jarzembek join. He had been playing with them live. I saw them in 2009 at the Prague Power USA Festival. Joey Vera, the bassist since whatever it was, Blood and Shade of Grey, officially was official member a few albums after that. I don't know what he was doing. I think he did that project, Chinese Fire Drill. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that was him. Yeah, I actually kind of like that album. I should talk about sometime. Anyway, I don't remember what year that was. It was early to mid 2000s. I don't know if my internet. I'm going to get a new laptop because my laptop's just been failing, and it's just the writing's on the wall. I mean, I might still use this laptop I've got, but I need it. Unfortunately, 4.5 years I've had this since 2018. Circles, which came out. I'm just looking it up. Did that come out in 2001? I thought it was more recent than that. The Chinese Fire Drill. Yeah, see, this is the problem. I've got my Wi-Fi extender on, but the search worked. I have it on CD, Chinese Fire Drill. It was a lot... Yeah, because it was after OSI, because I remember it was a lot like OSI. 2007. So yeah, technically he was doing that. I mean, I don't know if he'd rejoined with Armistead. Anyway, they were sort of a live band. They did those reissues, but this is the first album. And, of course, this also can be noted that this is the same lineup that recorded the Sympathetic Resonance album with John Arch, taking away Ray Alder and adding... or whatever, taking John Arch away and adding Ray Alder. So, but, because also to note, Frank Oresti, longtime guitarist in the mid-'80s to mid-'90s, had left. This is the first album he came back to play on. The artwork's just pretty plain, simple white, and I have vinyl I'll show in a minute. And I'll get into some of the details with it. It's very... I don't know if this was kind of going for like a less is more thing. I don't know. I never read... I'm reading about the album. I didn't find anything specifically about the artwork. But, given the fact that, that this album came on the heels of Sympathetic Resonance, in effect. You could say it's the follow-up from FWX, but it's more accurately, really. And now listening to it again today, and I'll get this out of the way soon here after I'm finish showing the lyrics, and picture of the guys, including Frank. Looks like he's there in the middle. This it's the first album, obviously, of the 2010s for Fates Warning. So this is the CD I got with the vinyl, of course. So I got 2 copies of the compact disc. Which I'm not sure I can say that about every other one I have on vinyl. So here's and I got this because, I mean, even though I wasn't listening, like I'm talking about Sympathetic Resonance, I wasn't listening to prog metal that much. I mean, I was just the run that Fates Warning had and Jim had with starting the late '90s with Pleasant Shade of Grey. You know, it's like not that I was obsessed with everything he did. The OSI wasn't into as much at this point, but it's a clear white. It's a nice photo. Same thing that was in the CD book rather, the jacket. This album, well, here, let me just show the other record and then we'll get into it. It's kind of, I have a lot of thoughts about this album, but it's definitely a case of time probably being kind and sort of, there's like patterns on this record. It's weird because I've never played it obviously, but it's weird. I got something on my neck. Yeah, there's like patterns. There's like a pattern stain on this album. So it was issued on Inside Out, which is Inside Out should have reissued Inside Out, the album, but it was they were signed to Inside Out Music for this album, and I want to say, I don't know if it was the last three or I think this is the first album that they put out on Inside Out. Anyway, so Sympathetic Resonance came out in 2011. I liked it a lot, but as I revisited, and I can't deny, I can be completely honest with it, I never got addicted to it or listened to it. I could remember things from it. I just kind of like, this is Arch with Matthias. This is like a Fates Warning lineup, basically, and it's doing real proggy stuff, technical stuff. This came out 2 years later with the same lineup, like I mentioned, other than the vocal change. The music itself is quite a bit different. This is more, I mean, I guess Jim Matthias would probably argue this every time, that it's different. The Fates Warning name, it fits the Fates Warning name more than Arch Matthias in some ways. It's a little more song-oriented. There's 10 songs on it. It's almost 57 minutes. It only has one, for the most part, one epic, the final track, And Yet It Moves, which I think is good, but I remember kind of being a little bit, I think disappointed is the best word. 2013, it came out, I didn't even say that, it came out in September of 2013, September 30th. This album and the Fish album, The Fish from Marillion, Feast of Consequence, A Feast of Consequences, both came out around the same time. I remember wanting to check them out, trying to check them out, and having like no time to check them out. Or I remember listening to this in my apartment when I was trying to do something, and I remember it was toward the end of the year, and I'm doing my albums of the year thing, and I know that year was weird in that Steven Wilson's, I was going to pull it up, Steven Wilson's The Raven That Refuses to Sing was like my number one record. That record, Daft Punk, Random Access Memories, Typhoon's White Lighter, those were my records I listened to a lot. And The Rain of Kindles, Play with Fire. The Deer Hunter put out Migrant that year. So there were a lot of other records I liked. Even Cloud Cult's Love is an album that I've grown to enjoy more since that year. It was just one of those cases. I've had these windows of time with music where an album comes out and I just dismiss it, or it gets thrown by the wayside, or gets kind of forgotten about, and then my memories of it aren't that great, so I don't really go back to it that much. Now, I'll say that since this album came out in 2013, I have not listened to it that much, mostly because I felt like my memory experience with it wasn't that great. I felt like, at the time especially, the best music from this window of time was on Sympathetic Resonance that Jim and those guys had done. But I think that was unfair. I think that definitely is unfair. That being said, like a lot of people, I want to say around the time that Long Day Goodnight came out, a little before, Theories of Flight, maybe after Theories of Flight, have talked about really liking this album, and I've just dismissed it. Like I don't know why people love this album so much. I'm not that crazy about it. A little bit like Inside Out too. But after listening to Inside Out, I feel better about Inside Out. I still don't absolutely love Inside Out as an album, but I can understand why people do. This album is maybe in some ways more comparable to their 90s album, the early 90s, like Parallels and Inside Out. It's more song-oriented. But listening to it today, I'm kind flipping a little bit now in my feelings about this, and fairly or unfairly compare it to Sympathetic Resonance, especially, and then maybe the albums that came after it. And FWX, which I will go to bat for FWX still after revisit. I still enjoy that album a lot, and you'll see where it comes in the rankings when I do the rankings soon, and after I get these ones done. So from a track list standpoint, I mentioned the Epic, and Yet It Moves. I think it's good. It has good moments. It ends weird though. It ends just like abruptly, and it's like Pull Me Under from Dream Theater. I would say 1,000 Fires, the opening track. I Am, the first track on side 2, or the 5th track. And Oh Chloroform are probably my favorites. And then I'd say Firefly is definitely a highlight. There's the single, the kind of token single, the video they made. However, this also has, and this vinyl version has it too, the extended version. I think the extended version of Firefly is 2 or 3 times as good. Because I think it is them going, it's more proggy. It's a very catchy song. Well, it's catchy, but then there's Falling Further, which is that could be sort of in league with Through Different Eyes and Pale Fire. I mean, some of the, Through Different Eyes, Eye to Eye. It's very catchy, Falling Further. In some ways, I can maybe understand why. I don't know if there's any connection to the song Falling, which is the 4th track, the last track on side 1. But yeah, the Firefly, the extended version of Firefly is really good. Oh Chloroform I love, and I guess I was reading that Kevin Moore actually did. I was saying he never worked with them. He was just doing work with OSI. He actually wrote the lyrics to that song. He didn't play it. I guess there was a chance those lyrics could have ended up on one of the Sympathetic Resonance, but it didn't get used. So, but it has whatever. I was looking at some of the production information. Phil Magnotti again did the engineering and mixing of the drums. Yeah, I mentioned Bobby Jarzembek, the first studio album with him. I mean, the absence of Mark Zonder can be said, it can be felt. I think he still fits with them, Bobby. Lighthouses has its moment. I think Lighthouse, Into the Black, and Neon Obey are like songs that have good moments. I don't know if they have won me over at this point where I'm going to probably go back to this more because, again, I've slept on it even though I bought it. I have a freaking hoodie with it. Because I was a Fates Warning fanboy, I still am, and wanted to support them. But it was definitely a case of an album that came out at a time that part of it was just timing of I was focused on other things, partly not to do with music. I was in a relationship for the first time for a few years and just dealing with a lot of other stuff, a new job, relatively new job, and it took a backseat, and have it come out late September and thinking of the albums of the year and stuff. It shouldn't be thought of that way. Albums just come out. You don't put out an album to be an album of the year. You don't put an album because it wanted to come out this calendar year necessarily. It just so happened. Like where do I even have it on my 2013 list? I'm just looking here. It's down, and I would definitely move it up now. I don't know how high I'd move it up to, but I think I had it at 42. I had 42. But I know initially when I did the albums of the year, now I remember this, I didn't have it on my list. This and Fish and a few other records, I just didn't put in there because I didn't think it was fair. I have it 42nd. I would reassess that and probably put it somewhere, I don't know. It wouldn't be in the top 10 probably, but it might be in the top 20. I'm actually intrigued. I want to listen to this album more. The songs aren't too long. The song Falling is just like a little ditty. Desire is another one when I just listened to, I didn't think was great. But, there's a lot of atmospheric elements. It's clear, it seems like from the point of, you could say, I thought in points of Sympathetic Resonance and even FWX, definitely FWX, clear that doing the music that he was doing with OSI impacted Jim's sort of writing style and the use of tones and patches and pedals and stuff like that he liked using. Some of the textures he wanted to write with and compose with. Even before that, you could say, Disconnected and Pleasant Shady Gray, they're using samples and stuff, but just specifically for guitar tone, Chloroform is a great, kind of trippy piece. I really like that, so. Anyway, what's your take on Darkness in a Different Light? No, what's your take on Fates Warning's 2013 album? I think it's their 11th. Darkness in a Different Light. Is it overlooked? I think some people that love it go to bat for it totally, but I think there's some in my camp that kind of felt like Sympathetic Resonance was what they focused on, and it was kind of like. But now thinking about it and listening to both in the last couple weeks, in the last week and change, I'm not so sure I disagree with some of those people. So anyway, but thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I got one more video to do. We'll see you next time, though.